And that's all we can focus on is
Right.
what's going on right in front of us. We need someone outside, outside of the eye of the storm to help us get connected with who we need. And so
Mhm.
it's things like this that we're trying to spread the message and the word because we know how hard it is when things aren't available. And this is something that you can get on the back end before it becomes the issue and the problem.
Exactly.
Creating these safe
Prevention.
prevention,
This is talking
getting
about
the
prevention instead
letting
of
them know it's okay to talk about these
Mhm.
things, like because our kids are really being affected, by drugs in a different way than we were.
Mhm.
I thought it was bad when I was, younger, in my teens and early 20s, but you guys, it's so much worse for them now.
It's
It
insane.
is. I mean, and the fact that they're making, drugs that look like candy, like
Right.
are modeled specifically after candy that predators give to our children. That's sick.
Mm.
And if we don't educate them on the forefront so that they know, that they're prepared, and I hate that we live in this society. I
Right.
hate that we have to do that, but this is the real world, and I've always been kind of a more real parent than I probably should have. Um,
Same. Yeah.
just because I mean I was kind of raised that way. I don't want to
Mhm.
be any different. Me and my 14-year-old, we talk about sex, we talk about drugs, we talk about, what I've done
Right.
and it, it doesn't feel good, but she needs to be aware.
Right. Because I think there's like also this like stigma that goes along with things that are a hush hush, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
sex and even like I remember like swear words. They were so taboo and you never said them and then I remember the first time I said one out loud and I said damn. Watch out. I was a serious kid. And
Serious.
I remember exactly when I did it too. It's kind of funny. I was playing kickball and I missed. I said, "Damn,
Damn it.
damn it!" And I felt like this grown adult, like I had peaked at 9.
I'm a grown up now. I said my first curse word. If that's
It was
all
a
that makes you a
powerful
grown up,
experience.
oh boy, then
Yeah,
my 14-year-old is for sure a grown up
right.
because she says she's pissed off all the
Yeah.
time. I'm like, hello, I'm right here. I know that's not really a cuss word, but
And, with my kids, I remember one time I was in the car and I had white pants on and I had a coffee in my lap and it spilled everywhere and it was hot and I was wearing white pants and I was on my way to work and obviously I was running late. And
no,
not you.
not you. I love
And
you.
I said the F word. I was like, never, and the kids are in the back seat. And my son, he goes, "Hey, did you just say book?" And I said,
I sure
"Yes."
did.
I said book because that's what you say when something hurts you and it's surprising. And he's like, "Okay." And then a couple days later, he fell off his bike and he grabbed his leg and he said, "Book." And somebody looked at me, they're like, "Did he just say book?" And I was like, "That's what you
That's what you
say
say.
when it hurts and it's
You're
surprising."
giving him that look, like
Yeah, that is what you say.
say. But yeah, I
So
mean,
anyway,
it's the realness of parenting, and I'm sure I'll have a ton of parents that disagree. I know I have friends that disagree with my
right,
parenting style, and maybe they would even say, "Well, that's why you're in the situation with your oldest daughter that you're in." Of course, we all speak ignorantly when we don't know about something. So whatever, I don't care what you say. But
right,
that education piece just kind of goes back to what I was saying about your, knowing about your representatives and that sort of thing. Like if you don't educate your children be educated yourself so that you can educate your children. We
right,
have vast resources out there. We say Google all the time, and I'm all about Google, but you better make sure that it's credible. Make sure that you are getting it from credible. You see people share these articles all the time, and I used
right,
to be that person too. Now I really pay attention to what I'm reading and where it comes from, and
right.
how credible are the resources.
And I started reading like more than the first paragraph.
Right before you post it.
Right. So
I feel
like,
like so many
just
people do
okay.
that. I want to be like, did you even read what you just shared?
Right.
You dimwit. Sorry, but um, seriously,
Sorry.
sorry, not sorry,
You know,
ever.
whatever. It is
but
what it is.
it is what it is.
Mhm.
It's just that education piece. And I'm fairly new to having this enlightenment, and so I'm not sitting here like the end all, I know everything, be all person. I'm walking that journey myself, but I'm telling you, when you open your eyes, when
Yeah.
you really start to pay attention to the world around you and you stop living like the robots we've been created and designed to become,
Mhm.
and I tell you what, it's life changing. It's something else. And it's heavy.
It's really heavy. Changing your
Carry it.
life in any form is it's a daunting task. That's why a lot of people don't do it. You know why? Because, change is hard.
Right. Well,
And
yeah. I mean, well, that's another thing. We are
yeah,
programmed to be that way. We want it
exactly.
fast, easy. We
Now,
don't want to work now. And, this bears repeating. If you think, all the things that you complain about our society, you've created that.
yes,
I feel like, can nobody see me? Y'all need to see me. You need to see the passion behind
yes.
I'm struggling
Do it
with this
over
whole
more,
thing.
and then I kind
I'm
of
gonna
do it to
need
the
some
side.
instruction after this, Scotty.
We'll be
I'm
down here in a
I'm
second.
I'm not good
There,
with technical things.
there.
All right.
Let
All
me
right.
see.
Can y'all see my face now?
I can see your beautiful face on here.
Good.
That looks
Forward in.
good.
Forward in. All right.
Perfect.
Moving on. Oh, so
So yes,
I am super excited
yeah, it's
about
gonna
our
be
guest today.
yes.
And I am still trying to track down, gut health is my new obsession, and I'm
Hmm.
still trying to get this podcast. I'm gonna shout them out. It's called Gutsy Health. It's on Apple Podcast. And I started it. I went backwards. I sort of started it from like their very last one to the very first one, and it's a younger couple who the husband was diagnosed with stage 4. I want to say it was pancreatic cancer, and they were just like normal everyday Joes, eating the fast food, eating the
Right.
candy bars,
Hmm.
doing all the whatever. And, he got cancer. And I think he was getting his PhD. He's a psychiatrist. Never got to completion with that. But they had that enlightenment moment of changing their life because they had to,
Right.
they had to, or he was going to lose his life. And so it is so inspiring. It is so informative to learn, and they believe in this 80-20 life. So 80% like cut out all the bull crap, but still have that 20% of margin,
Right.
because we shouldn't have to suffer, like that. But, you know, sugar, they'll tell you, it's just, they talk about hyperbaric chambers, like just
Yeah.
really cool stuff that is innovative, but also it's back to basics.
Hmm.
So I really encourage you to check it out. I am actually trying to save my money to kind of participate in their programs, because I believe in it wholeheartedly. It's nutrition to supplements, all kinds of stuff. So and
Amazing.
if you know my struggles with my daughter, that's very near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
So check that out,
And we
guys.
talked
It's
about
life
this
changing.
a couple weeks ago about, our second brain, just in our gut and our gut health. It just all correlates. It's kind of it's this crazy thing. We think everything has to do with our brain, like up here. You know what I mean? And like it's so far removed from us or something.
Right.
But it's
Right.
like everything that you put in your body goes through your stomach.
Absolutely. Well,
Everything.
it doesn't go straight to your brain.
No, not at all. There's a huge process for it to get to the brain. I think this is our
We're gonna
caller.
pick this up afterwards.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
Shane.
How are you?
Wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so excited to speak with you. How pumped are you that you're almost at 1 million views for that interview?
Once it hit at 12:03 this morning. I was actually awake for that. I knew it was coming,
That's amazing.
and I've been watching since like Friday, and I was like, oh, so close, so close, so close. And I was like, I want to make sure I see it. And sure enough, I got to see it last night.
How amazing. Yes.
Congratulations.
That's fantastic.
I can't even.
So
I
did
can't.
YouTube like send you like this big like alert or something?
No,
Like, you're at 1 million
I
views?
just
You
kept
just
like
watched.
refreshing.
That's amazing.
I was like,
They
it's
don't
gonna
do
happen. It's
anything
gonna happen.
special? They don't do
I
anything
know they
No.
should
special?
send you like an award or something.
It would be nice, but it didn't happen.
Oh
Oh
man.
man.
Well,
Wow.
well, maybe we'll get you one because that's so
Oh,
amazing.
there we go.
Thanks.
So tell us about the addiction series and what you're working on.
Okay, the addiction series started in January 2016. I kept visiting with my mom, and I usually don't watch a lot of the news, but every time I go over, she's watching the news, and
Right.
kept seeing all these people who are overdosing, these people are stealing, these people are dying, and I'm like, there's got to be somebody out there getting better. There's no way that all these people are dying, all this is going on, and nobody's finding one person who's getting better.
Right.
So I started talking about it with my wife, and she said, "Well, just pray about it." And she was working for the big newspaper here in the Cincinnati area at the time, and she said, "I got a guy I interviewed in the past. I'm not sure if he'll do it, but we'll try to do this." So we got John Hughes from Kenton County, Kentucky, to come in, and he and I talked for a few hours before we even got started. He just sat down in a chair and shared his story for, I want to say he went around 45 minutes. And
Wow.
so I don't have any addiction background. I've
Hmm.
got Crohn's disease, and I'm like allergic to like everything. So
Right.
you think I'm the last person in the world to do this series? And I said, God works that way.
Mm.
So John's starting to tell his story, and I'm a little bit judging him. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm like, man, this is terrible. But by the end, I was tearing up, and I was like, don't cry and ruin this. Don't cry.
To say
And
that
I
to
thought,
myself
if it
all the time.
affected me like that, how much
Yeah.
more is it going to affect someone who's got a loved one, someone who's battling this, someone who has a friend, a neighbor, whatever it is? How can we get this out and get people to recognize that, people do recover, they do get better, that there is hope? Because what I was getting from the news was that there was no hope. It was a death
Right.
sentence.
Right.
So that's how it got started. And now this year I've recorded the most I've ever recorded. I've recorded 27 this year.
Beautiful.
And there are 74 videos total in the series. People in 217 countries have watched.
Hmm.
I think we've got 1.6 million people have viewed. I've interviewed people from 15 states and one from Canada and one from Nigeria. So that's
Wow.
been pretty amazing.
Wow.
This is fantastic. How do you find the people?
Usually somebody knows somebody. Like I'll interview somebody, and I'm like, I think I know somebody, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. Or I'll get like a random Facebook message, text message, email from who knows where, and then we get the ball rolling from there.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So you had an event this weekend?
Yes, we
Yeah.
did a theater event. We showed two of the videos in the series. Amy Parker's video was the first one we showed, and
Uh-huh.
she has most recently been on Addiction Unplugged on A&E.
Wow.
And then we did Aaron Lanes, who you guys just had on last week.
Yeah.
Um, so that was great to have both of them there. We had about 30 people show up to the event. We had no idea what it was going to be like. You get all
Right.
kinds of people who promise, oh, I'm going to bring carloads of people. And then
Oh,
the event happens and you see who really shows up.
right.
But it was great to get people into the theater. It was really well attended. We had some media come there and interview some of the people in the audience. There was a lot of tears. There were a lot of
I
hugs.
bet.
And it was really powerful. It really was. I was hoping it transferred over from the internet to there in the theater, and it did. It definitely was every bit as powerful as it was. And I was kind of like, I think I sat down for maybe 5 minutes the entire time. I'm just like pacing back and forth. And it's so cool to see your stuff up there on the big screen in a movie theater.
Right.
A movie theater I'd gone to as a kid and seen like Jurassic Park and all this stuff. And I was like, my stuff's up there. And that was really cool.
How fantastic. One of my favorite things about you is that you're not in recovery.
Me
You
too.
know,
Yes.
I just think, I think that's amazing,
It's
you
a whole
know?
other perspective
It
that
really
it's
is.
so necessary and
Hmm.
needed, because it can be anybody. Anybody can
Right.
make the decision to bring change like this.
Hmm.
You just have to be, I guess, open to understanding it. And just like you
Right.
said, I won't lie, I was kind of judging, at first,
Yeah.
and that's just how that's innate. That's
Yeah,
we're all that way. You say that
absolutely.
you've never judged, you don't. That's not true. But to have that moment of discovery of, oh my gosh, like I need to do something.
Right.
It's not affecting me directly, but it is indirectly. And that's
Right.
that's huge that you do this. And my hat's off to you because what I fight for and my stance affects me directly. But to look at it from your perspective of just like, I don't want things to be this way. I want humanity to be better. That's huge. It says so much about the heart that God has given you.
It really does. Like, I thought it was so beautiful. When we spoke the first time and you told me that you weren't in recovery, I was blown away really, because you don't hear that very
Yeah,
often. You
he's
know
got
what I
no
mean?
skin in the game.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, yeah, it's a different look at things, and I just wanted to
Yeah.
give I want to give people the opportunity to share without like a limit. If somebody's getting interviewed on the news, you might get 3 minutes max.
Right.
If somebody's writing an article for a paper or a magazine, you can't get the whole story. And I don't even ask questions. I just say, hey, you tell your story the way you feel comfortable telling it.
Right.
And that's worked really well. I had all kinds of people say, this isn't going to work. You don't have a host. You don't have any music. I had music in the first two, but people felt like it was taken away from things. So I just pulled it. So we're
Right.
going to strip this thing down to where it's just you and that person. So you feel like you're having that conversation
Right.
with that person. And it's really kind of a raw feel. There's a lot of emotion to it. And all of them, it seems like a lot of people cry. And I said, I don't sell it to make people cry. And I said, but now in my head, if one of the videos doesn't make somebody cry, I was like, all right, did I do that right?
It's not good enough.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't
I
evoke
wanna get that-
emotion.
Yeah, I want to get that. And
Yes.
when I first started getting those types of messages on YouTube, I was like, I'm getting like messages like, I'm a grown man and I'm crying and I can't stop crying and everything. And I thought, this is unbelievably powerful. I mean, I've covered a lot of other powerful things. Like I've covered human trafficking, homelessness here
Mhm.
in the Cincinnati area. I've covered Holocaust survivors. I got to
wow.
interview Nelson Mandela's photographer for the last 10 years of his life. I
Wow.
interviewed somebody who played in the Negro Leagues, but nothing's had the effect that this has had. And this isn't just, it's not just a United States thing. It's not just an Ohio thing. It's not just a Georgia thing. It's a worldwide thing. I have people contact me from Iran saying, we can't talk about this in my country. Thank you for doing this. I had somebody contact me from the island of Crete, and that's like right off of the
What?
boot there over in Italy. And I didn't even know where it was. I had to look it up. And I say, thank you so much for doing this. We don't really have any services that handle these things
Wow.
out where we live. And that just floors me. It's hard to keep going sometimes because I work a full-time job,
Yeah.
got a family, and this year, believe it or not, I've had 31 cancellations, which I'd never had that many in the previous 3 years or 2.5 years that I've been doing this. So there was a lot of times I was ready to give up, and then I'd get a phone call from somebody. I got a phone call last summer from a guy. I got my phone number out there. Anybody can contact me. I don't always pick up every time, but I will eventually get back with you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know anybody in Kansas, so he left a voicemail. You need to call me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call this guy. First thing he says, I just want to tell you, you saved my life.
Wow.
What? Wait a minute, what? He's like, I'm sure you get this call all the time. I said, no, I've never got a call like this in my life. What's going on? And he said, I live in this really small town in Kansas. There's no treatment out here. There's no groups. There's no nothing. And I got clean by watching your videos, watching Joel Osteen, and reading my Bible. And I was like, wow, that's just phenomenal. We stayed in touch. He actually called me a few months ago,
Mhm.
and we talked on the phone. And that's kind of the relationship I've been building with a lot of these people. I'll get emails saying, hey, can you interview so-and-so? And I'm like, well, if it's a celebrity, it's not easy to pull off. I mean, the Brandon Novak one,
Yeah.
what happened there was a guy I had just met, Ron Ward from Middletown, Ohio.
Mhm.
And I just got his story, and he said, hey, I'm getting Brandon Novak. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, right. Everybody tells me they can get somebody.
Right.
So he's like, he'll be in such and such date. So I wait around all day. At the time, I was working at a TV studio that closed actually this January. And I'm sitting there waiting, and the whole day goes by. I don't hear a peep. So I drive all the way home. I'm about 45 minutes away from the studio. And they're like, hey, we're on our way. And I'm like, I come in and tell my wife, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom, and they're coming. I'm going back.
Right.
So I come back down, and Brandon comes in, and he's just quiet and kind of meek. I mean, not what I was expecting. I mean,
Right.
he's
Jackass.
been in all these things and
Yeah.
done all this stuff. He wrote a book. He's a pro skater. He's done all this. And I just ask him, how he's doing and stuff. And he sits down and he says, where do you want me to look? And for an hour, he just kills it.
Yes.
And he tells the story almost identical every time he tells it. But I was fortunate enough to get it. I think I was one of the first people to get it, and I got the whole 1 hour. Not too many people do that. So that was really cool to get that, and to we put his number out there, and he said, "I've got more response from that than anything I've done in my entire life."
Wow.
And that just blew me away. I couldn't believe it, and I said, "Okay, this is going to be something really powerful."
Absolutely. Incredible. Incredible. I love that. Yeah. And I was looking at some of the things he's doing. He's doing a lot for recovery right now, isn't he?
He is everywhere.
He is. Oh my goodness. So he's something with Banyan treatment centers. They've got him featured on the page. That looked a little recent.
Incredible.
He's done so much. It seems like
Yeah.
he's appearing on stuff all the time, and then he's getting a lot of press right now because Bam Margera, who
Right.
we
Was
know
on
is
Dr.
struggling,
Phil.
right?
Yeah.
And he keeps calling out Novak for all this different stuff. It's that did cause a spike in the numbers, and I don't wish anything bad on Bam. I hope he gets clean,
Yeah.
but indirectly he was helping me out, whether he knew it or not.
Absolutely. Negative
What
press.
did they say? Yeah, no news is bad. Wait.
Yeah, there's something they say about negative
Yeah.
press, but it's not. It just kind of reiterates and proves the point even more.
Right.
And I hope he does too. I've been following his story, and it's heartbreaking.
It really is. I mean,
These are our fellow humans. I don't care if you're
yes.
famous, rich, poor, whatever. Addiction will take you. And it will totally. That's it.
I
It
mean, and
will.
it'll take you in directions you had no idea you could
No,
even go to.
right.
A
It
Lowe's.
blows me away. I've had people from so many different backgrounds. I had a guy. He As soon as he got out of jail,
Mhm.
his story was in Sports Illustrated. His name is Zeke Pike. He was the number one quarterback prospect in the country when he was in high school. His dad played 14 years for the Buffalo Bills. Family's real well to do. And he goes to replace Cam Newton, who is an NFL Pro Bowler right now. He was
Mhm.
going to go to Auburn and replace him. He gets a public intoxication, gets booted from the program, where he even plays it down. And so then he comes back to Kentucky, and he's trying to play for University of Louisville. Cannot pass a drug test. From there, he's starting to deal. He's got a gun. He's thinking about suicide and all these things that happen in his life. He finally gets clean, goes to rehab, comes back, visits, and his girlfriend ODs like
Uh,
pretty early on when he came back. And that caused him to go right back down that road. His parents cut him off, and he ends up in jail. And I was fortunate enough to get him once he got out of jail. There was a guy who was coming into the studio at the time who played basketball for the University of Cincinnati. I said, "You don't by any chance know this guy, do you?" And he gives me his phone. He said, "Here he is," and
wow.
calls him and says, "Hey, talk to him." Hey, no pressure. You don't
Right.
know me, but hey.
Yeah.
I do this all the time.
Yeah. So I was able to get his story. That was amazing. I've had people who have had tough backgrounds with maybe a parent died, or there was addiction in their family,
Yeah.
or something just happened in their life where the wheels came off. I interviewed a guy who was a nurse
Mhm.
a few months ago, and he had hurt his back, so he's taking the stuff, and before you know it,
I mean, it just snowballs, really.
that's it. He wasn't allowed as a nurse to take any medically assisted treatment. He didn't tell them. They tested him. He failed, and then he lost his nurse's license. So it's been interesting learning different ins and outs of things that I had no idea. Um, and then it's interesting interacting with people all around the world who, maybe they're doing something different in recovery in another country, in another state, in another
Right.
community. And it's been real educational for me too. Everybody just looks to me for the answers. I was like, look, I'm just behind the camera. I'm learning just like everyone else is.
Right. And there is such a huge learning curve. We definitely don't have it perfected in any way, shape, or
Absolutely
form,
not. But that's how you
and
learn. Like
yeah, through the
connecting
progress.
with you and seeing what you're doing
Right.
is going
And
to
then we
educate me
incorporate
more,
that
and we're
and
going to take
yeah.
a little bit. We're like sponges, and that's
Yeah.
how all of us should be, is just sponges to the world and the people around us. What can I? And I did this post the other day, maybe it was yesterday, but Like, that's what it is to me. I love meeting new people and
Mhm.
listening to other people because I want whatever that goodness is that you have, I want some of it. Give me
Right.
some of it.
Hmm.
Like, that's what I'm addicted to.
Yeah.
Like, I
Absolutely.
want that learning experience. And how can my interaction with you make me a better person?
Right. Or what can you learn from somebody else? I've heard it
Yes.
said that like there's two people you meet in life, a mirror or a teacher.
Yeah.
And you can
That's so true.
and somebody's either reflecting back to you
Right.
maybe what you don't like about yourself. I've noticed that in me. I had to come to terms with if I see something I don't like in somebody, it's usually a part of me.
That is wow. Yep.
If somebody, I don't know, and I don't want to give like too many examples, but what
Yeah.
I mean, like
I
All the
understand.
bad
I
parts of
understand.
Chrissy.
but yeah. So it encouraged like I had to encourage myself, especially when I first came into recovery, to reach out and talk to people because I couldn't talk to people. I remember I was going to these meetings with my ex-husband and all I would talk to is him. And
Yeah.
that wasn't healthy in
Right.
any way. And it's kind of funny because when I went back to these meetings without him is when I grew as a person. When
Hmm.
I grew and made all these connections that I needed to even get through this relationship. So it was, I can't say enough how important it is to connect.
Yep.
It
I even
absolutely
shared a
is, and
video about this. Yeah.
it's been good for me because I am like a major introvert. I have no problem interviewing people one on one, or like if I'm
Right.
speaking at a church or something like that, not a
Mm-hmm.
problem, or working with someone. But if I have to, I have to ask for help or something like that, or I'm trying to make a connection,
Mm-hmm.
it's not easy for me. I'm a major introvert. You could put me on an island and I might be all right for 10 years. I'm that bad. My
Yeah.
wife, it drives her crazy at times.
Right.
I said sometimes I'm really worn out from like an event like we did Sunday. I said that will wear me out more than trying to run 10 miles.
Right.
It
'Cause
just
it's
is.
draining.
It is.
I
It
can relate
is.
to
And
that.
Yes.
I'm getting better. I've had so many people like, hey, I have a doctor reach out to me and he said, hey, I'm going to start using your stuff in my classrooms. I was like, are you serious? And then I find out that people are using this series in prisons, rehabs, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
this is unbelievable. I mean, I had no idea.
They
And I
should.
still don't really have any clue of the reach. I had somebody say to me, you have no idea how many people you're reaching. I'm thinking, I got my YouTube analytics. I got this. And then I
Right.
find
Right.
out that some TV station in Ghana had been airing episodes. And I was like, are you serious?
Wow.
I was like, that just blows me away. And when I found out people were watching 217 countries according to the YouTube analytics, I said, I didn't even know there were, anywhere near that many countries, and that blew me away. I mean, obviously, most of them, their first language is not English, so that's a big deal that they're doing that.
Right.
And it told me how big the problem really was. I mean, we can see the numbers, we can see the facts that get put out here in the U.S., but we don't know all those international numbers and all those people struggling out there
Right.
until they reach out.
And at the end of the day, it's a number. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's when I looked at like 76,000 people died, but I shared this post that's an entire football stadium worth of people. A big, a major league, I think like the Steelers stadium,
Yeah.
that's 76,000 people. And you look and it showed a picture of that. And that it's like I have to connect my mind to these are actual people. These aren't numbers. These are,
Human
sons,
lives.
daughters,
Right.
wives, husbands, children. It's
That's it.
so far reaching, and we don't, and even it's how these things get classified that we don't even know really the numbers. We have no idea.
We kind of get numbed when we start giving all the facts.
Exactly.
And when I can put a face to that,
Right.
and someone has a response to that, or someone can relate to that, every little detail in everybody's story, I tell them, you don't have any idea how much that matters.
Right.
I had one person say they pawned their mom's wedding ring twice in 1 week, and sure enough, I got a comment that they had done the same thing. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. That's the last comment in the world I thought I was going to see.
Hashtag me too.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
That's it.
unbelievable. I mean, every tiny little detail, or somebody says, hey, I called Novak and he actually responded,
Oh,
and that's a big deal.
that's a huge deal.
The first guy he interviewed, his video's got like 109,000 views, and he's just a regular guy. He's married. I think he's got 5 kids at this point. He's got a house. And he actually got, he said, because of that video, I actually got invited to speak in Chicago. I was like, are you serious? That is so
Wow.
awesome. So I'm trying to work out the deal where he's going to be at the theater for the next showing, probably in November. Got to work out the details on that. But
Yeah.
so many people were blown away at that experience. A few people actually gave me money. There was no budget to the series. I don't have it. When the station closed, I was praying. I was like, how am I going to do this anymore? God, I don't have any equipment. And I didn't tell anybody. I mean, my wife knew and she didn't tell anybody. And somebody popped in with $1,000 check the very next day
Wow.
and said, God told me to give you this. And I was like, are you serious? And I just kept saying, are you sure? I probably said it 10,000 times before I actually took the check. Because that just has never happened to me.
Yeah.
So
Well, that
I've been
just goes
doing
to
that.
show like how important it is, you
Yes,
know?
and
And I full-heartedly believe that God, you know, really put that on that person's heart, you
yes,
know?
I was just gonna
Because
say
you're
that.
doing his work.
Yeah, you prayed
That's it.
over
I get a lot
this.
of people that tell me that all the time. And I
Yeah.
said,
You
it's
are.
been such a shocker. And it's been at times super overwhelming because it's like all the attention and like I get contacted from people all over the world, probably 17 to 30 messages a day, and I do my
Wow.
very best to answer that day. And it's hard. I don't want anybody to think I'm missing them, and I feel that responsibility because these people feel comfortable enough sharing some of the most difficult things that they've ever gone through in their lives with me, and I do my best to be comforting. People have asked me, "Are you a counselor?" I said, "No, but I seem to act like one, don't I?"
I hear you.
When they get
You're
up out of the
probably better
chair,
than some counselors out there.
they feel
Yeah.
so much better when they get up out of the chair and share their stories. And that's been really cool. And I've seen so many transformations. There's one guy he's come back and given me an update every year, which has been
Awesome.
cool. We've become good friends and I consider all these people my friends. And when they're
Absolutely.
sharing their stories, I said, you are my people on that YouTube channel. I am not going to let people bash you, rip you to shreds and all that. And that usually results in me I got to moderate the comments, so nothing goes public without my approval.
That's good.
I probably have to block at least 10,000 a year.
Wow.
So there's that much hate in the world, and I said I can't believe it. I said these people are just terrible. I would never dream of saying some of the things that these people are trying to say about people. It's just terrible.
They're fighting
That's
their own
yeah,
demons,
I was just gonna
and that's
say
hard for me to
that.
say that sometimes because I get some of that as well, and I know they're suffering from something and projecting it, you know, into whatever, you know, and then you just have
Probably seeing a
like
mirror
trolls,
of
you know,
themselves too,
that's
you
all they
know?
do. They sit
Yeah.
around and just throw that negativity
Mhm.
around, and they're not, you know, we're trying to sprinkle positivity like it's sunshine, and they're over there raining on everybody's parade. But that's, you know, that's even more fuel to the fire of why you need to continue to do what you're doing. And you know, I remember you saying you and your wife prayed over this when it was put on your heart, and that was exactly what you should have done. And you have to know, and bringing that spirituality piece into it is that you are one of his warriors.
Yep.
You are out there doing what others cannot, or what
Hmm.
others will not. You're standing up and in the name of something, first of all, that you have no relation to. It hasn't
Yeah.
affected your life, and it's one of that it attaches a stigma. Like you've put yourself in
Oh,
a
without
tough
a doubt. Yeah.
situation.
People
Right.
looked at me like I was
Yeah,
crazy, and I would get all kind of like, "Why are you doing this?" And
yeah,
I get I get a lot of stuff like that still. And I don't know how many people actually still follow me. I said, okay, you're going to get three things every day from me. You're going to get a scripture, a picture, and then you're going to get something recovery related. And I said
Yeah.
that may be enough to turn a lot of people off. We'll see.
and that's okay.
But
You just keep pushing in front of them.
I try to be a light. I have people say, "Oh, I love your pictures every day." I have some people say, you don't know me, but those scriptures keep me going. And then I have people that put a little bit of pressure on me saying, "Hey, I've seen every single one of your videos. When are you going to make some more?" And I feel that pressure all the time. I said, I've done more than I've ever done in a year this year. I will not
Wow.
probably be able to do that many in a year again and work full time and do everything. It's really worn me out this year where I'm just like, if I'm not working or doing that, I'm sleeping or I'm trying to spend time with my family. And
Right.
there's pressure. And I think some people feel like, okay, a little entitled that I need this. I need this every day. And I'm trying everybody. I'm
Mhm.
Oh
just
my
one
gosh.
person. It's just one camera. Now I'm doing a lot of house calls because the studio closed. So I try to get to people's houses or, I'll meet them in a park and do the shoot, whatever I can do
Right.
to make this happen. It's not like I've given up. I've thrown in the towel. After the first year, I wasn't sure I was going to go beyond 1 year because it was heavy on me. I'd never heard a lot of that stuff, and it was really heavy. And then I got used to it, which sounds bad, but I got to where I could handle it a
Right.
lot better. There's times where I'm like, okay, I need a break. This is getting too heavy right now.
Right.
Oh, I
It's
feel that so
incredibly
much. I feel
heavy.
that so
Yeah.
much what you just said. And I just want to say, brother, I love you. And I want to encourage you um, and pray for you that God will make a way for you to do this as a full time job because I know what you're saying. I'm walking that, and so is Chrissy too. We're both
Mm-hmm.
walking in that, and it is very tough waters. It is very hard to know that God has called you to do something so much bigger than you are,
Hmm.
and trust Him that He will make a way and He will sustain, your family and you. And so I just want to be that. We want to be that encouragement for you to continue. You must do this, no matter
I
what.
appreciate that. Absolutely. I've been able to get a lot of great press, which has been good. USA Today ran an article. A lot of the local papers in Cincinnati have run stuff. And that's been really helpful. I
Right.
did actually hire somebody for maybe a month or two
Uh-huh.
to try to pitch to stations. And what I got back was unless you've got people actively using in your videos that you want to create for us, we don't want to work with you.
That shock
And I
value.
said, that's I'm drawing the line there. I can't do that to my audience. Like I'm
Yeah.
already reaching maybe bigger than what some of these stations are reaching people,
Right.
and there's no limitations on me. So I didn't want to go down that road. That was difficult because in a way you're excited because they are interested.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've actually talked to Allie from I just forgot the name of her show. It was her and Frankie, um, Dope Sick Nation.
Uh-huh.
We had talked about doing something together, and then I recently saw a video she did where a lot of the people she's interviewed for her projects have not made it. Fortunately for me, I only have one out of all the videos that's actually actively using right now. It's only
Wow.
one, so that's an incredible number,
It
and I want
is.
to continue to keep it going in that direction and continue to reach people. I would love to be able to go further than what I'm going right now. I've had people reach out, hey, can you come to the Indian Reservation in North Dakota? And I said, I just can't make that trip. That's not something I can financially do right now.
Right.
It would be great if that happened down the road, but I don't know if that's the direction it's going to take or if it's going to continue to be like this, where I'm going to have one foot kind of in both worlds and try to make this happen. I'm going to continue to encourage people and help people for as long as I can because there's an obvious need. I mean, I get people every day saying, this is what keeps me clean. I watch these every single day.
Right. Amazing.
If
It's just amazing, like the scope of people that you've touched and that you've helped change their very life. I mean, I don't know that there's better in the universe. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if there's like a better job to
It's
have,
it, it's
more
been one of
fulfilling.
the greatest things that's ever happened to me.
I
It's
f-
taught me so much about empathy
right.
and because I could be, I don't know, I just felt like the way I was raised was like, okay, you got a problem, you just deal with it, you handle it, you keep going forward no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know that not everybody can do that. So it was hard for me at first to be empathetic, but this has been so good for me. That's what actually prompted me to go and interview a lot of the homeless, and almost everybody I interviewed was addicted.
Wow.
In
Yeah.
Cincinnati, there was a big homeless camp under one of the overpasses. I was down there interviewing them right before they got booted out, and being able to have conversation and acknowledge that these are people too. There's a lot of
Absolutely.
people that walk by them and just ignore them like they don't even exist. So I got to learn a lot from that experience, and I wouldn't have been able to be comfortable doing that without doing this series.
Wow. That's amazing. It sounds like it really changed you in your life.
Oh, without a doubt. I
Yeah.
mean, I just felt like, okay, you have no idea the example you're being to people,
Mm-hmm.
and my job ended after 14 years in the video production industry. I mean, I've got 18 years total, but the last 14 I was at one station,
Mm-hmm.
And then the same time I lost my job, my wife lost her job as a newspaper reporter after 14 years.
Wow.
So we've had a rough year, but we've been fighting with all we can to keep this thing going, take care of the
Absolutely.
family, and just continue to press forward. My wife has a great job working part time at a ministry in the inner city of Cincinnati, and she's getting the chance to make a difference in a way that she hasn't before.
Wow.
She's excited about that. She's a huge supporter. She's very patient with me. We're working on being better at balancing family work and the addiction series. We've had to learn a lot along this path so far, and
Right.
it's been really good to build up our family as well.
Beautiful.
I
So
would love to
beautiful.
know so that we can share with our audience if because I want to support you and so that you can continue this journey. I can just hear it in your voice. I can
Right.
see it in what you're doing in these communities, and the reach alone is incredible. And if you're able to get that far, imagine how much farther you could get with a little more support. If some of our
That
viewers could help you, how would they do that?
they can
What's your
reach out to
PayPal
me.
email?
Um, if they want to contact me through my Gmail, Shane8109@gmail.com, we can start that discussion. I'm not a nonprofit. I've looked into doing that, but I have had some friends who've had nonprofits where the boards got kind of hostile takeover and they ended up booted
Taxes
out
are
of
no
their own
joke.
organization. So it's like
Yeah.
I don't want to be in that situation where this is taken from me. So I'm trying to be very cautious. I tried to do 2 GoFundMe's and I didn't have much luck.
Mm-hmm.
I've had lots of organizations say they want to partner with me, and then we get to the part where it's time for them
Like
to
pay.
give, and they don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
What
like, all
about
right,
like a
God.
Kickstarter? Have you tried that? Since it's,
I
it's
tried that the first
creative.
time round,
Yeah.
and I got like maybe $100, and the goal was I think $3,000,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't make it. Did GoFundMe trying to do the similar thing, and we didn't. It didn't go almost anywhere, so I just pulled back and I said, okay, that door was closed at that time. I'm just going to pull
Right.
back and wait for him to provide. And if it's an individual, if it's a business, if you've watched any PBS shows, they start off, this show is sponsored by or provided
Right.
by. I'd love to make those types of partnerships too, whether it's an individual, an organization, whatever it takes to get this going a little bit more. It would be amazing to be able to go out to places like Indian reservations, to be able to go to different states I haven't been to, and maybe go outside of the United States and we can talk about recovery and addiction and what it's like outside of the US.
Absolutely. And I think that's like a kind of an overlooked problem in our country is the Indian reservations.
Mm.
Because addiction is, I mean, widespread. And I think affects a greater percentage than does, your average population.
Absolutely.
Very
And that was
overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
it was amazing that they reached out and asked that if I could do that. And I really
Yeah.
wish that I could. I mean, I've had people call me. I do a lot of call-ins where
Mm-hmm.
they can call me and I'm just recording the audio and I'll be like, send me your picture and then I'll use that as one of my videos. But the one in North Dakota, they wanted me there. They really wanted me there. There's 2 Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. If I can get to them, they would like to share their stories.
Uh-huh. Nice.
So it's just a matter of being able to make that happen and juggle all the things that I have to juggle in order to keep the lights on in the house and make sure the kids are fed and all those different things like that. It's
Right.
tricky. There's times where I had thought, okay, getting a ton of press right now. I was just on 2 or 3, TV stations. This is going to happen. And then, it didn't have the impact I'd hoped it did.
Right.
It's almost like the more I try to do, the less effective I am. When I pull back, it seems like God just opens the floodgates for me. So that's what I have
Absolutely.
tried to do is to
Mm-hmm.
just back off a little bit. Say, if this is what you want me to do, if you want me to go further with this, you're going to have to open those doors and you're going to have to provide. And, he's reached a lot more people than I ever would have expected. I wouldn't have expected college classrooms to be sharing this. I wouldn't have expected people showing these in prisons and rehabs all over the world. It just amazes me. I mean, I had no idea the scope
That's
that it was
amazing.
going to reach and what it's continuing to do. It just blows me away every day. I'm like, I can't believe they're showing this in prisons. I mean, I've never heard of anything like that
Right.
before. And it's just been,
That's
it's been
exactly where
mind
they
blowing.
need to. That's
I know.
exactly where they
I
need
think
to be
that's
showing it. I mean,
wonderful.
we've dropped the statistic of 75% of our jails are, mental health patients or drug addiction.
Mm-hmm.
They need to see that, these stories. They need to see. They need to see the hope. There is that reform. There's that refinement. They get they can have that too.
That's
Jail
it. And I
shouldn't be
try to make,
hopeless. It shouldn't be a place for the hopeless.
Right.
I've made several Facebook posts saying, hey, this is free for anybody to use anywhere. Just don't take credit that you did it.
Right.
That's the only thing I'm saying. Don't
Right.
steal it and try to monetize it. I had one guy
Mm-hmm.
do that, and I had to call him out on it. And he lost his channel, and he's flipping out on me. He's like, "That's so immature." And I'm thinking, "You stole from me. Who's the immature one?"
We call
So
that
I have to be
projection.
careful with that.
Again.
It's like I'm not making money on this. I'm not trying to have anybody take it and make money.
Right.
That's not right. That's not why I did it. I was never. That's not why I started this thing. I started because there was a need, and there still is a need, and that's why I continue to do this because we don't have it figured out yet. If I had 1 billion views and we're still looking at 60,000 people dying every year, I'm not doing enough.
Right.
I hear you.
And
I hear you. Views aren't
it's
everything. It's the impact that you're making.
right.
We do, and that you just kind of brought that to light for me. We focus so much on, well, how many views did it get? How many.
How many
Yeah,
likes?
that just means someone maybe they didn't watch the whole thing,
Right.
like they
Yeah.
just looked at it. But what impact is it making? How are we changing the lives that we took the time to do this for?
Hmm.
That's the point of all this.
Yes.
It's not that. And you said something earlier that was really important for me to hear today when you said you pushed back, you kind of let go a little, and you're like, all right, God, if you want me to do this, you will make a way. And I feel that so much because you sound similar to us and that
Mm-hmm.
this is something that keeps us up. When I wake up in the middle of the night, this is what I think about. Um,
Yeah.
it takes everything I have to do my regular job. There's no passion or fuel behind it anymore because this takes all of it,
Oh,
and
I agree 100%. I mean, right now, I'm working some crazy hours, and I'm actually delivering pizzas, which is what I did before I got into video production.
Mm-hmm.
And it's paying the bills, but it's hard a lot of times. There, I said I'm there, but I'm not there. My
Right.
mind's not there. But then again, I get to make an impact on the people there. And before I knew it, people were drinking like the same drinks I'm drinking, and everybody's saying thank yous and yes sir, no ma'ams, and all this stuff. And I'm like,
Wow.
I didn't catch on, and then like I started realizing, okay, I am making an impact here too, whether I realize
absolutely.
it or not. People are watching everything I'm doing,
Right.
so I need to make sure that I'm being that example wherever I go and whatever I do.
Wow.
No
Absolutely.
And
pressure.
yeah, I was just gonna say that that's heavy.
Absolutely. I
To
feel like
yeah,
that
be constantly
myself. Like,
on.
right, always on and ready to go and making
Yeah.
sure that I'm practicing what I preach because sometimes I don't. Like with
Mm-hmm.
my eating habits and my sleep, are really impacted by a current situation in my life. And I'm always telling people, like, you got to pay attention to what you're putting in your body. You got to make sure you
Right.
get 8 hours of sleep. And I'm over here, like, not doing those things.
Right.
Yeah.
I even watched this like motivational video this morning and it said in there like, you're like one choice away from a better life. Like, did you choose to sleep in an extra 10 minutes this morning? And I totally did. And did you choose to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Did you choose to, eat right? And, yesterday I totally went to, Chick-fil-A, you know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not making these choices that I want to make. I want to make good choices. And it's still like this convenience factor. I'd rather sleep
Oh,
late. You know what
it's
I mean? I'd
tricky.
rather eat crap. I don't understand like the disconnect. It's really comes down to temptation and, I'm not.
I told my wife, I said, I'm just born to serve. I've got an older son before I met my wife who's 15 years old, who's got autism, who,
Mhm.
he's high functioning. And, I've sown into his life so much. And I mean, even though I don't have custody of him, I still see him. I've got the visitation, all this stuff. I mean, he's like my clone as far as his mannerisms, what he talks
Right.
about. I mean, he's read the Bible all the way through. I don't know how many teenage boys do that. And I've also got another son with my wife who he's about to turn 2, and
Mhm.
he watches everything I do, and he gets up at 6, even if I get home from work at 3.
Wow.
So I have to constantly be ready to go and do all these things. And,
Right.
whether it's taking care of the animals, it's cleaning around the house, the things that, you don't want to do, but you need to do it because it's important to your family. They rely on me to do this and that and all these different things to make sure that the house and everything is functioning. And, um, you just have to realize, it's not about you. There's going to be times where you need a little bit of time.
Mhm.
But for me, I just serve. I serve in so many ways. I've been volunteering at numerous different churches since I was about 18 years old, wherever God puts me. I've done video production for them. I've ran slides, I've run sound, and he just keeps creating those opportunities for me. And it took a long time to get to where I realized, okay, this is my job. I'm not supposed to be out
Right.
front, and I'm not supposed to be the one, um, that everybody is giving all the attention to, which is right now it feels great. At one time, I wanted all that attention, but he's just taught me so much every step along the way. And
Mhm.
I never quit learning. I never quit. I try to latch on to people who are successful and who are maybe like in their 60s, 70s, 80s
Right.
and
Like you
learn
do,
and
right?
glean as much as I can from them.
Yeah.
The people who are
Absolutely.
really giving back, because I think sometimes we look at like, okay, Bill Gates can give back, and I don't have money like Bill Gates, so I can't do anything. It's not true.
No,
It's
not
not
at
true at
all.
all. You can have a
Well, you don't
tremendous impact.
and you don't need money to do it. And I
No,
think that's what where there's like a little disconnect with giving. It doesn't have to be monetary at all. Giving compassion, empathy, listening. I mean, these are things that are lacking in our society, and they're
Are
free.
really
that's
free.
it. I've got a neighbor who he's getting ready to move right now. He's an older gentleman, and his wife passed away last summer.
Hmm.
His daughter actually OD'd, and they brought her back
Oh
a
wow.
summer ago. So he's living over there by himself, and I went over there to visit with him, and I just listened to him for 3 hours because he doesn't
Yeah.
get a whole lot of visitors, and that totally made his day.
Oh,
I
Totally made
bet you
his
made
day, and
his
we have so many
year.
people. People need that,
Yes.
they don't always need an answer from us. They just
Yeah.
need an ear. They just need to know that somebody cares and somebody really is going to take the time to acknowledge they're still alive.
Right.
There's a
And
lot of older folks that are kind of shut in,
yeah.
and they need that connection still, just like we do every day, just like we did when we were kids. We always need
Yes.
those connections, and I think people forget about that.
they do. They
They
get so wrapped
do.
up in their own lives, and that reminded me of the older gentleman that passed away. That's a veteran, and I think in Florida, and they posted about like he doesn't have anyone to come to his funeral, and so they were posting about it so that people would come, and that is what you said. It just rings so true. I went to see my grandmother day before yesterday, and we just lost her husband, my grandfather, in May, and she is just
Mm.
she's lonely, and just to hear she said that to me. She said, "I'm just lonesome. I'm so lonesome." And I thought, no, you're not. I will be here, once a week as much as I can get here, I'll be
Yeah.
here." But that's just, and I say it so much. It's a hashtag I use over and over. People need people. We need each other so desperately, and especially in these situations that are so hard and so stigmatized and so just heartbreaking to walk through because you're shamed. You're shamed.
Right.
Society has
Ashamed, and
shamed
you
you.
you feel alone. You feel like you
Hmm.
can't share that, and you do have to be careful. There's no doubt about that. There are people who will spread your business everywhere.
Of
But when
course.
you find those connections, hold on to those connections.
Absolutely.
Don't let 6 months go by and you haven't talked to somebody. You don't know how
Mm.
much they need that. You don't know how much you need it until you keep that going. And it's not easy. We all get busy. We all got a million things we want to do, and sometimes we just want to turn on Netflix and just like 2 hours of binging something just to get your mind
Right.
off of everything that's going on. But we really do need to keep those connections going. We need community. We need to be able to, be comfortable doing that. I know there's a lot of people that suffer from anxiety. My wife does, and it's not easy to make some of those connections. Sometimes you get overwhelmed, and keep going, keep pushing forward because you need it. You need it a lot more than you know.
Absolutely.
Don't walk alone.
Absolutely.
Don't,
No
I
need
say it
to
all the
walk
time.
alone.
we have billions of people on this earth, and it is just,
And we're all like in little boxes
right. Like,
alone.
get
Yeah.
out of your head, get out of your bubble
Hmm.
and reach out. We've done this before. We'll do it again. Maybe we should do it every single show. Is just, if there's somebody that's on your mind, if it's a loved one, if it's a friend, if it's a coworker, reach out. Just check in. It
Yes,
can
just
be as
reach out.
simple as,
We need
"Hey,
like
I
the
just
reach out
wanted to
hour or
yeah, I
just
just wanted
5
to
minutes.
check in and see how you were doing and
Right.
tell you I love you." That's all. And it could just be the thing that changes their whole day. It could be the difference between a suicide, being committed, or that next drug use. It can change everything. It's very simple. Um, and we just take it for granted. Like, oh, it'll be here tomorrow. Listen, folks, you don't live tomorrow. You don't live in yesterday. You live right now. You live today, because that is all that is promised to you.
And you don't
Absolutely.
don't even know how long of today you have.
Right.
So it's this moment. We've got these moments that we need to live for and stop living for just I'm a future tripper myself. I will trip on into the future and
Yeah.
just like live there. And I think I said this before, but you live in the future, that's anxiety. You live in the past, that's depression. And
Yes, ma'am.
living in this moment, it's hard. It's like this whole mindfulness movement.
Hmm.
It's actually difficult to live in this moment. And even when I'm in this moment, I don't have to be thinking about the future, but maybe I'm thinking about the 10,000 things I didn't do today, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean, just like what I'm gonna say next. Am I even listening?
Right.
Like
Right.
like what I
That's
mean though.
that's so true in
I'm not doing that
conversation.
right now
You
either,
know what?
Shane.
You actually did that to me earlier.
I did. She point blank looked me in the face and said something to me, and I looked up and I said, "What?"
It's like you weren't
I
listening
have
to
no
anything
idea
I
what I was
said.
talking about. I
But
think I was putting on makeup.
that's how we are, though. We're
Such a
we're
jerk.
we're
Sorry.
always waiting. You're not a jerk. You're the biggest unjerk I
I
know.
love you.
I love you. We're always waiting. Like, stop trying to say so much. Listen to what the other person is saying, and then
Right.
take, even if you have that awkward silence in between the two of you, where you're actually thinking and processing and thinking about what they said before you respond. We're so quick to like, oh, but I know the answer, or I can fix that for you, or I
Right.
like. Why don't you just listen sometimes?
That's it.
You know?
And
Sometimes,
don't listen to respond. Listen to just absorb.
Yes.
You
Maybe
know,
there was a teaching lesson in that for you, and you weren't supposed to say anything.
at
Not
all.
everything somebody says requires a response.
Yeah.
That was one of the best
On
things that
Facebook
I learned.
especially.
That was one of the best things I've learned on the journey of life. That's what I'll call it. But is I don't always have to respond to anything. I used to just like, and I hate to equate this back to like a bad relationship, but in my previous relationship, gosh, I just wanted to tell him all the time how wrong he was. And I was
Hmm.
obsessed with doing that. And, I found such grace and such beauty in saying, maybe you're right. And it was like the fight was over, everything's done, and I didn't agree, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't do anything, but I said, maybe you're right. And it's just done. And it was so
Hmm.
beautiful. And actually, my
Yeah.
sponsor told me to say that. She's like, what if you just said maybe he's right instead of telling him he's an asshole? I was like, I guess I could do that.
It's
Yeah.
hard. But
Yeah.
maybe
It is.
It is
I
hard.
mean, you
It's
you don't
very
realize
hard.
how you're sucking the life out of them, and I've been
Exactly.
on both ends of the spectrum of that. I mean, I've had relationships where I couldn't even tie my shoes right, and I've had
Oh.
relationships where I'm like, you need to just shut up. you, you need to quit saying, hey, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you?
Right.
Okay, why isn't this done?
Yeah. And then I had a lot of, I guess I had a lot of practice in, allowing people to be themselves and be who they
Hmm.
are, and it was beautiful. You're who you are, and I don't have to be that, I
Yeah,
don't
I
have
don't have to
to,
try
I
to
don't have to
change
push
you.
this, and I don't have to
Yeah.
change anybody. I'm here
That
living my life, and accept that.
Right. And
that's what's
sometimes
been so
someone else
good for
is
me.
right.
That's what I learned about with the series. I'm like, you know what? You don't. It's not my job to figure it out for everybody who sits in that
Right.
chair. It's my
Exactly.
job to listen and to give them this opportunity to share
The
because
voice.
someone needs to hear
Yes.
what they're saying, and it's really important whether I catch all those little details or not.
Right.
Somebody is waiting on that. Somebody is searching right now who maybe they're not ready to go into treatment. Maybe they don't want to listen to their friends, but they just happen to be searching.
Yeah.
and they find one of these videos, and that can be their first step.
And they're getting ready to be ready. That's the process,
It's
you know.
planting
And
that seed.
yeah, and
We
you
talk
said
about it all the time.
yeah, you said something earlier too about you know, you don't have to give anybody advice or solve anybody's problems. You know, a lot of time we don't have the answers for other people.
No.
We can think that we do all we want. And, you know, people used to, I think, just get so frustrated with me because I wasn't listening to anybody else, but I couldn't. I had to listen to my heart because my heart is my journey. It led me to this beautiful experience, you know, that I'm having, you know, the life that I'm living now is absolutely beautiful. I wouldn't trade it for anything, you know, and if I didn't take every single solitary misstep, I wouldn't be here. So thank you for, you know, so thank you God,
That's
you know, for the whole my whole past. How beautiful.
Right.
that's it. That's what I've been learning. You
Yeah.
know, with this series, it's like, you know, the series was never meant to be about me. I still don't want it to be about me. I happen to be the person behind the camera, but I can't do it if people don't share. If people don't share, it doesn't exist.
Right.
Right.
And so essentially, it's a partnership
Yeah, we
with
need
every single
you.
person who's willing to do this.
Wow.
We need you. We need you to continue to
Yes.
spread your message far and wide,
And
just
we
as
want to
far as it
support
can
you too.
go.
So, you know, the next time, and there should be a next time, you start a Kickstarter, you do a crowd fund.
Let
What
us
is it called?
know.
GoFundMe.
Just send
Yeah.
it to us
hmm
in a
We will
message.
blast it all over. You know what I mean? I mean, I think you have a bigger reach than us, but hey,
Yeah,
we will
listen.
do whatever
I'm
we
always
can.
amazed by that because, like, I'll get somebody when Addiction Unplugged came out. I think I heard from like their creator or producer or
Uh-huh.
whatever, and he's like, "Hey, can you help get the word out?" And I was like, "You're at the point where I'm probably reaching more than them, and that doesn't
Right.
make much sense to me because they're on TV." But you know, that's
Nobody
the way
watches
it's
TV
been.
anymore.
Right. I don't.
It just floors me every step the whole way. I
Yeah.
mean, Allie, she reached out to me on YouTube, and I was like, "You serious? Like,
That's incredible.
I'm the person you reached out to. Shouldn't it have been the other way? You know?"
Right.
But that's the way this has gone all the way through. It's just been little instances like that where things like that happen,
Yeah.
where somebody's like, "Hey, you know, can you come on and talk about this?" Or, "Hey, I've got a YouTube show, or I do something here or there. Can you be on?" I'm like, "Who in the world am I?"
No. That's amazing. That's amazing. So I know you have to go soon, so I definitely want you to be able to plug everything um, that you can.
Okay,
So
absolutely.
website. I mean, this man. Can I tell people you have your phone number on the page? I guess I
Yeah,
just did.
yeah, it's
So I
out
just-
there. It's out
yeah,
there
he
on
has his
my the
phone
Addiction
number.
Series has a Facebook page,
Hmm.
and it's got my phone number on there.
And I just shared
Um,
it to the page.
So I can't answer everybody right that second. Please be patient with me. I do my best to get back to every single person who contacts me, whether it's through YouTube, Facebook, whether it's a phone call, a text, an email. I do my very best because I know that may be that lifeline that someone needs, and I don't want to miss that opportunity. I don't want to find out that something happened to that person, and because I was maybe too tired or too lazy,
Right.
that something happened that I could have helped.
Oh. Well, you don't seem lazy at all, working a full-time job and doing 27, uh, yeah,
Yeah, it's
interviews
been wild.
with
Everybody looks
31
at me like,
cancellations.
oh,
It's
that was the
amazing.
hardest part this
Right.
year. Because a lot of that started once I started working. I usually average 47 to 61 hours a week at my regular job, and then I'm trying to do this, and I'm like, all right, people, you know, if you didn't really want to do this, you know, you could have just let me know.
Right.
You know, my time is valuable, just as everyone else's is, and I just want to make sure that I give them the opportunities. If people want to see the addiction series, you can find it on YouTube. The YouTube channel is Shane8109. You'll see one of the latest ones up
Mhm.
there in the featured section. There are 74 videos in the series. I've got them broken down by year, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm trying to keep it going as much as I can. I am taking off time in October to just spend time with family and then do things like what we're doing right now to
Mhm.
get the word out. I needed a little bit of break to get some rest and get my body built back up because I was running It was like they say you burn the candle at both ends, but I felt like my candle holder was pretty well scorched at that point.
Right. I can't even
So I
imagine.
needed to slow down before I ended up really making myself very sick and not being
Wow.
able to do this anymore.
Well, you truly are an inspiration. I know to me, I can't imagine to the other
Absolutely.
people that you've touched. And what a fabulous message. I can't even wrap my head around it that you're not in recovery. You're an honorary member of the recovery community.
Yes,
You know,
every day I probably get 100 requests to join someone's group,
I
and I'm like,
bet. I can't even imagine.
I'm just going to tell you guys, this is what I do. I'm not in recovery, so if you guys are interested in this, here it is. If you're not, I probably won't be posting.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
I love what you're doing. I
Yes.
absolutely do. And I encourage you to continue the fight.
Yes. And
I'm
just
going to
let us
continue
know,
to, and we'll
please,
see where it goes.
yeah, how we can help in any way. We are so,
I
so
mean, this
willing.
this in itself is a huge help. I know
Yeah.
it's reaching people that I haven't spoken to, I haven't
Right.
seen, I haven't made contact with before, and I'm thankful for every opportunity like this. I'm so thankful that you made the phone call and made the
I know.
connection,
And y'all, he
and
did. He called me right back.
that's
I
it.
left a
I was
message
doing
though.
something at my dad's. I can't remember what we were doing, but I was helping him with something,
Yes.
and so I was like, I try to be, I don't want to be like, Dad, I'm going to take this, because
Right.
I know my dad's not going to be here forever, and I want to make sure I make the best time with my family and
Family
everybody who's
first,
here
Yes.
too.
always.
Yeah,
Amazing. Very important.
Well, we thank you again so much for what you're doing.
Yes.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Oh, well,
I
thank
got
you.
to tune into the one last week. I don't always catch all of them. I try to catch bits and pieces when I've got
Yes.
the time open, and you guys are going live. I want to make sure I catch that and see what you are doing, because what you're doing is very important. And even though you can see how many people are watching as you're live and stuff like that, you don't
Right.
know how many people are going to replay it, or how many people are going to share it, or maybe somebody found a way to download it and they're putting it out somewhere.
Right. Amazing.
Don't
Yeah.
don't let those numbers dictate your journey with this. Just know that every single one counts, and you're probably reaching a whole lot further than what you know.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
That's
much.
very, very
Thank you.
encouraging. Very
Yes,
encouraging. And
and
we hope to be
empowering.
in 4 years, we hope to be getting in the millions of views like you.
Yeah.
It can
Just for the
happen.
reach.
It can
Yes,
definitely happen. I mean, I had no
absolutely.
idea it was going to happen to me. I mean, like I said, I've been doing video production for 18 years, and this has hit bigger than anything I've ever done. I had no idea how much this was going to change my life, and
Hmm.
I'm so thankful that I get to do this.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, thank you so much. And we hope to talk to you again. When you've got this is your full time job and you're, getting that Emmy or whatever.
That would be fantastic. I
Yes,
look forward to that.
we'll put it out into the universe for you.
Yes.
There we
Something
go.
will come
Thank you
back.
so much.
Absolutely. Pleasure to speak with you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much,
Pleasure to speak
Shane.
with you too.
All
All
right.
right.
You
All right.
take care.
Bye.
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 So we focus so much on lived experience and telling your
Mhm.
story and that sort of thing. And that was such an enlightening moment for me to say he doesn't have there's no experience here. He doesn't have a personal story to
All
tell,
right.
but instead he gives a platform and a voice for those who need to tell their stories, who need to get the message out. How that is such a godly, just there's no other way to explain it.
It's divine.
It is incredibly divine and just it's like I don't even have the proper words to say what that means to me for someone who has, you're always people usually start nonprofits or they start their mission because it's something that directly affects them, their family, someone
Right.
that they're closely in tune with. And this man was just like, you know what? Just listening to the news and saying, this is unacceptable. What can
Right.
I do to change it?
What a story.
That is humanity at its finest. And I just, again, want to say, Shane, you're a hero in my eyes. I can't wait to see the big things that you do because it is God led. It is, you can feel the God in it.
You really
Just,
can.
it's incredible.
And please, everybody who's listening, check it out. Go to YouTube and subscribe to this channel because you will not be sorry. It's absolutely riveting, and he has a really other way cool stuff on here too. There's a lot of like ghost stories, which I mean,
Oh,
I don't
fun.
like to be scared. I don't like scary things, but for some
I
reason I
love to
am
be
into
scared.
ghosts. So anyway, that's something that's very, very interesting. And then he just has like so many beautiful things. Just relax, a natural summer, a beautiful day, and it's just, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. He's spoken to people, and he did say this, somebody who fought for the civil rights and was in the Negro Leagues, and oh my God,
Just human
doing
stories.
amazing things
It's
about us.
yeah, just about us, like there's so many stories that don't get told that could change lives
Hmm.
or just be impactful in some way, or just to hear another human's story, another human's journey, because we've done some miraculous things in history.
Yes.
I unbelievable things, and we should be sharing those with each other. Getting to know each other more. Taking that time. Really, that's poignant about the older generation, and that was really revealed to me with my grandmother, and then of course the share on Facebook that I saw, like a veteran, someone that fought for our country, and there's no one to go to his funeral. Nobody.
It's
That's
heartbreaking.
it is. If I was in that community, I would be sitting in that church or wherever his funeral's being held,
Hmm.
because people need people even when we're gone, to celebrate our memory of whatever it was we accomplished, or just that we were a person on this earth. Um, that's it makes such a difference.
Absolutely. And I shared a video Monday, and it was a TED Talk, and I've heard this TED Talk before, but this guy talks about rats. This experiment, this ancient experiment, okay, outdated,
Ancient. This experiment, they
So
experiment on rats
Egyptian.
and the Egyptians.
So anyway, they had this like kind of controlled experiment. It was one rat, and they had, water or heroin or drug laced water, right? And the rat would basically almost every time without fail go to the water laced with drugs until it died. You know what I mean? But it was in seclusion, right? It was completely alone. It was by itself. It had basically nothing better to do, right? So this scientist comes along and he sees this and he's like, well, this is kind of BS. So he changes it and he says, I'm going to make this rat park. And he makes it amazing. Like there's a bunch of rats together, they're all buds, and there's amazing food to eat. There's entertainment, there's toys, there's everything like a rat could possibly want, tunnels and I don't know,
Whatever rats
comfy
do.
beds, whatever. Okay. And they did the two waters, and it was complete opposite results. Not one single rat went to the drug laced water and if they tried it, they never went back. They never went back because they had something so much better. They had connection, they had friends, they had stuff to
Right.
do, you know? And then he talks about all this in the video. I'm just giving you a synopsis, but he talks about how Portugal had this, just terrible, terrible drug problems. You know what I mean? People dying all the time, like everywhere.
Yeah.
So they decided they were going to do something about it, something serious and radical. So they decriminalized all drugs, and they put all the money that they were spending on people who would be in jail, all that money, and they put it towards housing, rehabilitation, but also programs like loans for drug addicts who want to start small businesses, and not drug addicts, but people in recovery who want
Right.
to start small businesses.
Not the drug
And
addicts, 'cause
sorry,
we don't want that business. No more of that.
The opposite. And they would, and also to help them get jobs and find purpose and meaning, but not just jobs, like go to school, to get the job that they've always wanted. Not, hey, here, you can, be the cashier at Dollar General. No, like, no, you
The
want to
real,
be,
like the
you want to be a
purpose, whatever
teacher.
passion that they
Yeah.
had inside.
We're going to help you do that,
Yes. It's
and
just about the reallocation of funds and redistribution of funds.
Exactly.
Just money just sitting out there doing absolutely nothing, or contributing to not the greater good of humanity. And
It's
what an impact that made, and that is, we all just want
Mhm.
to have the ability to do what it is that fuels our fire and makes
Exactly.
us feel a part of the community and to give back in our own special way with
Mhm.
the skills and talents that we were given to us by God. And that that's huge. Huge.
Absolutely. It's astounding. And, Portugal has had incredible results from this. I think, overdose deaths are down by like 50%. Like that's amazing.
Like we have to take notes. We have to, our
Right.
governments have to look at sustaining
Right.
models for other countries and get innovative and see what they're doing
Right.
because like this the way that we're living is not acceptable anymore
It's
and
really not. And our prison system shouldn't be for profit. Our healthcare system, it shouldn't be for profit.
why does me being healthy get to make you a buck?
And quite a buck too.
A really big buck. I mean,
Quite a buck.
I understand that it is now necessary.
Mhm.
This is where we're at, and I get that. But, and that just kind of segues into and like your nutrition, eating healthy, eating well. You you and you don't know. Like people say, "Oh, it's organic." But do you know? Did you really like grow that
Right.
in your backyard?
Yes,
You
we
don't
were
know.
having that
You don't know.
conversation in the grocery store, this weekend. How do you know?
Right.
They
Why
just
do I have
slap
to
the
pay like $3
organic.
more
Right.
for something that you say is organic? I don't know if it's organic or not. Like, and now I've become, unless I go to the farmer's market and I'm speaking to the
Mhm.
person that is actually selling what they,
Right.
you don't know. That's why I
You
really,
really don't know. And I even heard that, corn, almost all the corn is actually not even listed as a vegetable because, the DNA of the corn is actually a
it's
pesticide.
right. It's yeah. Wow. Oh, that's lovely.
Isn't that lovely?
Glad I
Um,
don't eat a lot of corn.
and corn's in everything, y'all. Okay, high fructose corn syrup.
Corn syrup.
So
And this is
it's a
actually
pesticide.
another TED talk and this was from a psychologist. Her name is Julia Ruckledge, and she just kind of talks about the importance of nutrition and its role on mental health as a whole. Um, and so she said something so like aha moment, like if current medications are effective, shouldn't mental illness be decreasing rather than increasing? If these medicines are working, if there's all these studies that are showing, shouldn't we not have so many people shooting other people or going off the deep end?
Right.
I mean, really, like, let's think about it for a second. And this is coming from a psychologist. So it's her job. Her job is to kind of prescribe medication,
Hmm.
right? Like, and they actually had like a placebo trial where adults were given vitamins and minerals and supplements to treat ADHD. And in just 8 weeks, twice as many people responded who were in the what they call the micronutrient group than those in the placebo group. So those who continued on with those supplements
Hmm.
and nutrition, they continued to see increasingly positive results. And those who went back to medication showed worsening of their symptoms. I mean, that just the side effects alone
Right.
of what these medications do. Um, and it is mending what we've done for so long. Um, these prescriptions are only going to be effective on a short-term basis, and then they just suck you in
Hmm.
to where you need more and more and more.
And they're only meant to take for 2 weeks. I don't know if you know this, but
Right.
antidepressants are only supposed to be prescribed for 2 weeks to
Yeah.
feel the full effects. It's not a long term solution. It's not meant to be. It's not even. It's not made to be a long term solution. So I
No.
don't know why. And then your body becomes so dependent on them that they're almost become impossible to get off of. It's a slippery slope, but I have firsthand knowledge of that this works. I became so I it was a couple years ago. I think I'm at 3 years now, 3.5 years, and I started eating vegetarian and basically cutting out things like white white sugar, white flour, white bread,
Mhm.
like things like that, white rice. And just going more natural, just really eating more fruits and vegetables. And I cut out meat. And most dairy, some dairy, some
She eats
dairy.
cheese
Okay,
dip.
I love cheese dip. um,
Oh, it's a
Anyway,
balance. It's a
it is.
balance.
It,
It
and
is.
just
We're
like the
not
80
saying
20.
that.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not we're not sitting here like I'm not going to
You
tell
have
you
to
that I'm that
be
person because I would be
yeah.
lying to you. But I find the balance in things. Most of what I put in my body is
Hmm.
good for. I know it's good for my body. I feel it that it's good for my body after I
Exactly.
ingest it. I know. And then if I want to eat the cheese dip,
Hmm.
I'm gonna have the cheese dip.
Yeah, because
But
that's going to make, it's not going to ruin, I'm not eating cheese dip all the time.
right.
Right. Yeah.
But most Americans are eating that
Yes.
refined sugar. Sugar is a drug, and we have
And it's addictive.
commercialized it, and we've said, no, it's not. Yes, it
If
is.
you
It is
have
a
withdrawal
drug.
symptoms from not having sugar, it's a drug.
Come
Okay.
on, like let's be real. And most Americans are. I don't crave. I'm more of the French fry connoisseur. Like I
I
want the
love French
starchy
fries.
potato like salty. But sometimes I get that sweet tooth. And I think to myself, and I'll, indulge or whatever. But when I see the amount of just, I mean, my mom was an example of like, I grew up watching her drink like Tab and Coke. Like that's all she drank. And it never occurred to me, I, I never really had, now all I have is water, that's all I drink. But,
Right.
you know, the sugar, the sugar that you're intaking in just soda alone is enough to kill you. You drink sodas I mean, and we're still doing it.
Isn't there like a cup of sugar in a Coke?
Yeah,
Or like a cup and a half? Like that's crazy.
it is. It is. And like, look, I'll have it, especially if it's a glass bottle Coke. I'll have one every once in a while, like a Coke in a glass bottle. Every once in a while, one. But I know that little bit, that Coke or whatever, I don't drink that every day.
Right.
So I'm asking you to find a balance in your life, wherever you're at. And of course, here I am speaking, an addiction, like a recovery show, telling you like to find that balance. And some of you may be in that place where there is absolutely no balance in your
Hmm.
life. But let me tell you, I know what that's like. I know what it's like to just depend on one thing so much because if it wasn't one thing, it was another for me. Like I could not be,
Absolutely.
and I know that's how I'm wired. I know that's who I am. So
Mm.
now I do, it's yoga, it's meditation, it's prayer, it's relationships, building. I am now addicted to building relationships, like nourishing for my soul relationships. I get so much from such a high from meeting new people and absorbing their good energy. Um, it has changed my life. But if you've got that personality, like find the good thing that you can be addicted to, whatever it is.
Exactly.
Like figure it out.
And I want to say, we brought this up because I was able to get off and I'm not saying do it, I'm not saying just stop taking your medications. Like you have to talk to your doctor, right? But I was able to successfully stop taking medications, all medications. I mean, it's rare that I even take a Tylenol just because I don't get headaches anymore. I
Right.
was getting like these migraines and I realized it was from all the caffeine I was drinking because if I wasn't drinking it, I would get a headache. I'm like, oh, where's this from? Duh.
And it was so easy to pop that pill, whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
so easy to say, oh, I just need
That's
to
just
take
such
an
a quick
ibuprofen.
fix. And they want to tell you that you need this, you need this, you need this. Well, I don't think that, I mean, I proved to myself that I didn't. And that's just my personal story. But in my personal story, I don't take anything at all. And
that's
there's
where
some days that, I do experience anxiety. I do experience, some, and I'm not going to call it depression, but I have, you know, fluctuating moods, Most of the time, though, I have these connections that allow me to talk about it, which I was never able to do before,
right.
and get over it. I have, a lot of people in my life who are not afraid to tell me the truth. And that's been the most important thing, saying, well, Chrissy, you're kind of being a douche about it. So, I need that. I need to hear when I'm in the wrong.
I didn't say you're being a douche,
but not listening,
listening.
but you keep bringing it up. I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. But there's just so much truth in that, and here's another thing I wanted to bring up. We're supposed to have bad days, guys. We're supposed to have good days, bad days. We're not supposed to wake up and feel like on and like ready to go. Like some days you're not going to be in a good mood. Some days you're not going to feel good.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And we
I
can
don't know why we're
rewrite.
conditioned to think
Right.
that we're supposed to be these robots. We're human beings. And so, headaches, for instance, my daughter suffered from headaches her entire life. I mean, the kid had 2 brain surgeries. Um, and so as I was trying to at one point approach this holistic, I wasn't really, really ready at this point, but I was getting my feet wet in it. I started using peppermint oil. I would get peppermint oil and I
Too.
would massage it into her temples and kind of put it across here. And I know some of y'all are gonna be like, whatever, that's all right. It worked,
It really
and
works.
I did it for myself. I mean, I'm gonna say after like hangovers and stuff. Yep, I'm gonna say that for real. Like I would use it for that, and I would be like, oh my gosh, this really works. You know, there's other alternatives
There's
that
a
are out
lot of
there that actually
alternatives.
aren't that expensive. Not everything that's good for you is expensive. And when it comes to nutrition, especially, I want to say, when I make it, I don't spend a lot on food. I participate in a this co-op thing where I get this $10 box of fruits and vegetables like produce and good for you food. And I wait for that box, and then I just sort of that's what I cook out of. And if I need to go get a grain or something to complement, or
Right.
I don't make bread. We never eat bread with our meals because in the South, like that's what we do. But I don't do that, and it's just
I hardly ever eat bread.
it's a very small portions,
Yeah.
and the right things. The things that I know are healthy for me. It's it's just balance,
Hmm.
just balance, and I know that I this is gonna we're going in a completely. Did you have anything else to say about that?
No.
Okay. I
Do
wanted
that.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
throw
Yeah.
out a couple of statistics for you. At my support group, I had a wonderful soul there, Jennifer Wilds from Viewpoint Health, to kind of share um, about suicide, since last month was Suicide Prevention Month. And if you live in the Newton County area, I really want you to listen up because and you're a parent or you're a concerned citizen. I want you to pay attention to this. Um, they give our children in school a survey about suicide because this is what we've come to now. Like it's such a thing that now they've got to get some numbers. And in 2018, because 2019 we don't have those numbers yet, but 1,062 of our young people in grades 6 through 12 seriously considered suicide last year. Seriously contemplated it. And the top 2 causes for that were their schoolwork and their family issues. So what's going on at home and the pressure to, make the highest grades. That's what is affecting our young people. So 6% of our students attempted it. They actually had a valid attempt in grades 6 through 12. That doesn't sound like a very large number, but that's 542 less students we would have in Newton County had they,
Been successful.
went through it. And then 136 had 5 or more valid attempts. I want you to know that is happening. And, we can rabbit hole and go in all different directions with this, but it's a mental health epidemic that's affecting our children right now, our adults, our friends, family, loved ones, and it's resulting in addictions. It's resulting in suicides. It's resulting in homicides. Um, and we're not sitting here telling you that we have all the answers, but we are part of the change. We are part
We're
of the
part of the
warriors.
solution.
Yeah, the solution. And it is as simple as your nutritional health. It is as simple as what you're putting in your body, what you're using in your homes. It's really that simple, and it's just making a few adjustments, nothing big, little things at a time, and just kind of focusing on that little piece. And once you've mastered that little piece, move on to the next little piece. What can I
Right.
change next? That's, and I'm still in my journey too, but that's how I've gotten to the place where I can say these things are effective. These things work,
Hmm.
you know, because listen, guys, I'm having a really sad day today. Like today is a bad day for me. And I knew I had to come in here and I had to put a smile on my face and I had to do this for you because you need to hear it. This is a bad day for me. This is what a bad day kind of looks like. I had to come in here and look at my partner in this and say, I don't feel like doing this today, but I'm going to because I know people need to hear it. My heart is sad and I am struggling really bad. but I know that you need to hear me. And I know that I have walked a journey that others need to hear. And I know what's worked for me. And I know that my testimony will will bring a change for someone else.
Mhm.
So I don't know why I felt like I needed to say that, but
Maybe somebody needed to hear it.
do. I think so.
Yeah.
You know, it's, I'll just be kind of honest and transparent. My daughter was placed in a therapeutic foster home last week, and it's the only alternative that I have to keep her safe. That is all I have. And it is messing with my mind. The enemy is telling me that I wasn't good enough to be her parent. The pride in my mama's heart is falling apart. I've got more financial debt that I've just incurred because of her, and I'm thinking, when does it stop? When does this roller coaster stop? And
Mhm.
why is she placed in someone else's home? That's unfair. I'm her mom. I want to help her. Doing this for me in its own way helps her. And that's hard. That's hard for me to be open and honest with you guys about that. But I guess, in sharing that, it's like today is not a good day for me.
Mhm.
But I made a choice, and I said, I got to get up and I got to come out here and I got to speak to the people out there that need to hear from me,
Right.
that need to know that even in tragic situations and places where I don't want to put in the work anymore. Like, I just want to lay in the bed and I want to do something negative. I crave that. I feel that, but I won't, because I know
Mhm.
there's a better way, and I know I have to keep pressing. So I want to say that to you. If you're sitting in a hard place, if you're having a bad day, I want you to know you don't have to go to the ways that you've always done, because it's insanity, and you know that you're living that. It's the same thing. You're not
Right.
producing a different result. I want you to know there's a better way. There is another way. Reach out to us. We're here. You can message the page. Someone will answer you. You can message us.
Mhm.
We are always here for you.
Always,
Always.
always, always. And also, we can do other little things too. It's just like the story in our head. We can, instead of saying like good and bad, black and white, we can look at our days, you know, as lessons. Like today I'm learning a lesson. Today I'm doing something that I don't want to do, but that's good for me. And that's different from what I usually do. So that's a fuck that, oh, that that's a very successful
Were you
day.
about to cuss?
I know, because I'm passionate about that and I love you
It's
so much and I don't want
okay.
you to be, but that's a beautiful day when because my depression will tell me and has told me for years at a time that you're no good. Just stay in bed. Nobody wants to talk to you. Nobody can help you. That was just this voice in my head. It's kind of like the devil and the little angel on your shoulder. Well, that's in your head. You know what I mean? Um, More than you're going to see it anywhere else in life.
There's so
Actually
much.
experience it.
When you said that, like, I that's what I do too. I try really hard, even in this moment, really, in my gratitude journal, and when I'm writing down my prayers, and okay, God, how are you trying to refine me through this? Because I am hurting so much right now, but what are you trying to show me?
Mm-hmm.
How are you preparing me for what's coming? And I know that's what it is. I know that it doesn't take away the hurt, it doesn't take away the pain, but it does let me know that a brighter day is coming, and he's got something bigger planned for me, and it's all part of that story, and yours is too. Those times when you're like, this shouldn't be happening to me, this is so unfair. It is part of your refinement, it is part of your journey, and you've got to own it and possess it and not let it bring you down. And that's me saying that to myself, just as much as I'm saying it to you. um, you got to stay in that headspace. It's hard to do, but that's the hard work in it.
Mm-hmm. And the more you do it, it's practice. The more you progress, and the easier it is next time. If you do the hard work now, and life is easy. Do
Yeah,
what's
in the
easy
long
now, and
run,
life is hard.
right?
You know.
Wow. And that's how I've lived my whole life. Was like, well, I want to do what I want to do right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm going to do, because, you only live once, right? YOLO. No, people.
Exactly.
That's not how it works.
Well, you only die once. You
You
live every
only
day.
die once.
Snoopy said that.
Aw, I did not know that.
Yeah.
You only die once.
Get to live every day.
You get to live every day. I'm going to put that on my mirror. That's my new thing. I love that
Beautiful.
so much.
Yeah, it's And when you think about life in those terms, you wake up, you have this beautiful fresh start every day. Why not make the most of it? I like to start my mornings. I usually listen to this in crazy, this is crazy, like exercise motivation. It's called Beast Mode.
Nice. I'm just
I do
picturing
like
this right
like
now.
relaxing yoga to it. It's so funny because oh my god, I don't know, but it really just like gets my blood flowing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, I'm gonna do everything I can in this day to. I don't like having regrets. I don't.
Yeah, me
I've because I've lived too much of my life in regret and constant regret. I don't want to do it anymore. So I have to be different than what I want to do.
Yeah, you have to change.
I
Like
have
your
to
routines,
change.
your patterns, all of that
Yeah.
has to change. It does.
And when I
Absolutely.
change the inside of me, the outside, everything on the outside changes with me because I'm just coming from a new perspective. I'm a new person. I am so
It's like a
different.
newborn. It's like
Yeah.
seeing things for the first time. You open up your eyes and everything just looks different. And listen, I used to hear people say that are sitting in where I'm sitting, and I used to think, okay, right. Can you take that hippie juice somewhere else? Because it ain't gonna work here. You don't
It's
know
funny.
me. You don't know my life. You don't understand what I've been through.
Right.
Um,
And we hold on to those things too to
yeah,
protect us. And
that's your identity. I
yeah.
saw somebody share something about broken people and attention, and they stay broken because they want the attention, and it pissed me off so bad. Maybe some people do. I don't know. I don't really know those people because everybody that I've met that is broken, it's their identity.
Hmm.
They don't know any other way. They have to be shown something different. We
Right.
have to open up their eyes to something different.
And I
So,
think it's called trauma bonding. They've
right.
bonded their entire reality and who they are as a human being to
Yes.
this
Yes.
one situation. And it's actually not that one situation. It's not the trauma, the actual situation of the trauma that keeps us sick. It's all these beliefs that we have about ourselves from that
Absolutely.
one situation that ruin our lives.
That is, and I can use that perfectly when, I decided to give temporary custody of the state of my daughter to keep her safe. And because our home was, I can't even explain it to you. Chaos is not even a proper word. I couldn't even like breathe. Like it was horrific.
Hmm.
And so when she left and was taken into state custody, I grieved her chaos. And I
Hmm.
knew that, and I thought, what kind of sicko are you? Like you because that was my life for so long with her, was just constant
Hmm.
chaos, and I had no idea what to do with myself without it. No, it wasn't attention. No, I grieved. That's all I knew my daughter as. Like
Yeah.
that was our life. And I had to I had to do some serious work through that trauma.
I can
And
relate to that
oh
so
my
much.
gosh. And really, like when I realized that that's what it was like, what is wrong with me? Like,
Hmm.
why am I grieving that? I shouldn't be grieving this.
Hmm.
I should be resting and respite. This should be my time of,
Right.
you know,
But grief is part of the process too. you know? And
yes.
I just relate to that so much after I, have this kind of amazing Coca-Cola story. And I told everyone, I
Yes.
said it on the show and, got out of this terrible relationship. Well, like 3 weeks later, I'm in this new house and it's wonderful. And my ex calls me and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to buy us a house." And I was like, "Oh." And for like 2 days, I totally entertained this thought of like, yeah, we'll get a house and I'll get, I'll go back. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Cause I was so bonded and I was in the grief process.
Yes.
I was
Yes.
seriously grieving. And it wasn't the relationship as much as it was my ideas about what the relationship could have been.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I've lived in that mind
You
space
know,
forever.
I really had this idea that, oh, wouldn't it be beautiful if,
A
two
house
people
will
meet?
fix it.
Yeah.
We're going to get a
Cause he might
house.
come home to it. He wouldn't.
Yeah.
Don't worry. But I, I don't know why, but I just remember these 2 days, and I was like sick. And thank God for those 2 days because it really showed me how sick I had been, like how much damage this had done to me. Um, and how I wasn't willing to identify with that. That was not who I was anymore. I was not that person. I was not a victim. I was the creator of my life. And I
Absolutely.
had this beautiful chance, and I said, no, I want this list. And I wrote this list out of everything I wanted out of life. And actually, I remember being in the hotel, and listing 3 things. It was just 3 simple things that I wanted. I have all those 3 things in my life right now, 2 years later.
That is glorious.
It
That is
really
a
is.
glorious, beautiful thing to
It
know
is.
that, just sitting in a hotel and writing those 3 things down and
And
not being in
there's
a space to
tears.
obtain them
There's
at
tears
all.
on this page, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I put and they're simple and it's only a couple sentences, but I remember I was writing all these like scriptures and quotes down of who I wanted to be and what I wanted my life to be like and what just everything I wanted, everything never thought that I could have and that I didn't deserve. And I just made it. It's like I can safely say that I've created this life out of pretty much thin air, and I have all the support in the world. I'm not trying to discount all my loved ones who've helped me. But,
No, but you have to do that you have to make that decision within yourself. It doesn't matter, the support is necessary and needed,
right.
but that the whole thing changes when you make that inside decision within yourself. When Chrissy said, "No more, Gabe."
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. I love you so much.
Oops. No more Fred. Oops. I'm dying. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Amazing.
When it was such a serious moment, right? And I'm like,
we needed
no
it.
more.
That was perfect. Oh.
Anyway, when she said, I won't do this anymore. I won't be part of the insanity anymore. I deserve better. Our kids deserve better. If you
Yes.
don't want to be a part of it, with me, then I'll do it. I'll build it on my own. And she did. Guys, that is powerful. That is such a testimony that, you can do it too.
Yeah.
If she can do it, you can do it. If
Oh
I
my
can
God.
do it, you can do it.
If I can do it, anybody can do it. Let me just tell you right now. Seriously. Do this right now. Like, just seize the moment and do it. Write down 3 things that you want more than anything in this universe and put all your
Yes.
effort and love
Right.
and joy and pain and onto the piece of paper and just be who you are and don't censor yourself and just say what you want to the universe. And I guarantee you, if you believe in it, it'll be.
And you work, believe
Yes.
in it and work
And then
towards it.
follow every intuition that you have that this is something good for me, and I did some things that when at the time I was like, well, God, that's a mistake after it didn't work out, but it led to something even more beautiful. You know what I mean? Everything is leading you to where you want to be. That's what the universe does. And it's not like, the whole thing about manifestation and law of attraction that we talk about, I don't have to think about it and visualize it. I have to be it. I have to be the love I seek. I have to be the success I want. I have to be the friend I need. And then all the things I want come rushing to me because that's who I am and that's the energy I'm giving off and like attracts like. I mean, these are just scientific principles. Not
It's
can
not
apply
rocket
it.
science. Choose the white wolf.
Always.
Always choose the white wolf. And it's not always easy, but if you keep doing it, it becomes easier and then it becomes second nature. Just like picking up that, needle or snorting that line or whatever it
Yep.
is, that's your routine. That's
I
what
had
you
to
do.
learn
It
how to
becomes
do that too.
second nature to you. But these
Yeah.
things that we talk about we have the ability to be reprogrammed and we can do it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that, in addiction. I mean that with our nutrition. I mean that with our psychological behaviors. Your genes don't get to determine who you are.
Ever.
You don't.
Mm.
They just don't. Do your research. Get educated about yourself.
Yes. You're amazing. Believe it.
We're like 1 whole minute over.
I know. My God.
1 whole minute. I wanted to plug this really fast.
Do it.
And I'm always looking for whatever's going on in the community, mental health related, or if I come across addiction, of course, I would share that too. But there is something happening November 9th. It's hosted by Matters of the Heart Counseling Services. It's a faith-based mental health initiative. It's got someone named Willie Moe Jr. speaks out on mental health. And you can get tickets through Eventbrite. I think it's it's definitely on Facebook. And so it's going to be like a praise worship show. Has a keynote speaker for coping with mental health in the African American church and community. and it's going to be at Greater Piney Grove Baptist Church. And there's a link to register. We could probably put it in the comments.
Awesome.
But I saw that and I wanted to share. Anytime I come across anything like that, I do my best to share it with you guys. So if you're in the Conyers, Covington, surrounding counties area, go and check
It
that out.
is. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to share it. Very nice. Share it to our page. Well, y'all, thank you so much for, being a part of the show. And, it means the world to us. I don't want anybody to think that we don't appreciate you. We appreciate everybody who listens. And thank you so much. Also, just check out justforfunradio.com. We have an app. Check out the morning show, 7:30 to
'Cause
10.
it's
It
hilarious.
is, I've never laughed so hard as I did this morning, I don't think. It was
Yes.
amazing. Tomorrow night, Jacob from Tulsa has the Rough Edge Takeover, so make sure you catch that too. It's an amazing show, amazing music. You won't be sorry. There's lots of other shows. Go check out the webpage,
There's something for
justforfunradio.com.
everybody. We try to do a little bit of something for
Mhm.
everyone. So if this isn't, you clicked on this, not really your bag, share it anyway.
Yeah.
But come back for more on Just for
Mhm.
Fun Radio, because there is something for everyone.
And we're, the station will be doing a lot of events this month. We'll be out and about in October a lot. So make
And
sure.
November.
Yes, and November. So I think this Saturday we're going to be at Paws on the Square. And that's put on by Rush Teas. So it's an adoption event, pet adoption event. So, make sure that you go and support that. That's an awesome, awesome event. And we
Yes.
couldn't be happier to be supporting that. That's amazing. Um,
Love you, Mom.
Oh, so sweet. And don't forget to like Christina's page, Never Too Late. Don't forget to like my page, Recovery Out Loud.
Please forget to-
Please support us in what we're trying to do. And thank y'all so
Bye.
much.